Well, hello and welcome to this one-off. My normal videos resume after the new year, okay, but I need to do this before the end of December. So this is the new playlist I'm starting, okay, where I am listing. It was going to be a top 15, but I've increased it to a top 20. So basically, I've added about, well, a large number of fighters. More are being added since I did this list. I've added O'Shaquie Foster, Sebastian Fundora, a few others, and each month there'll be some more fighters added until I've covered kind of the major active fighters. Now, one thing about this list is not just about young guys, okay? It's about the young guys, okay, who are earlier in their careers, the older guard who are close to retirement. It is active fighters, okay? So, let us go through all fighters who fought in the last year, who may have retired, but, have fought in last year. So, the list will change. As fighters retire, they'll drop out, new people will come in. As they fight, they will change. Now, these guys nowadays don't fight too often, so there's not going to be massive changes every month. But over time, over a number of months, you'll see fighters moving around. Yes, thank you, buddy. I have had a good break. Good to see you, Martin. I'm back with normal uploads just after New Year, but I have to do this before end of December. So this is the Modern Fighter rankings for December 2025. Not piles of information, a simple system to just go through. Hiya, Mr. James 810, good to see you. So basically just go through the list of 20. So let us begin, okay, going from 20 to 16. So in 20th place is Jai Opetaia. The bars indicate their level, okay. Now, normally on videos I do them with stats and information on, but I elected not to for this because this is a shorter list. It's a monthly list, and therefore there's no need to pile loads of information on. You will track them as they improve or grow in the score via their bars. Okay, so in 20th place is Cruiserweight Jai Opetaia, who I think is a marvellous fighter. Maybe the fight's out there for him at cruiserweight he wants. Maybe a foray to heavyweight would be best. But Jai Opetaia opens the list at 20. And in 19th place is David Benavidez. A fantastic fighter. Scored more good wins over the last 2 or 3 years. Was initially didn't have too great of a resume, but he's improving that resume over time. And in 18th place, okay, is Teofimo Lopez, the former lightweight champion, now at light welterweight, of course. In 17th place, okay, is Shakur Stevenson, who of course will mix it with Teofimo. That's a fantastic fight. And in 16th place, okay, close to the end, is Deontay Wilder, who even after his whole career only gets to 16th place in my list. So there's the first 5 there. Okay, when we go on to the second batch, okay, in 15th place, we have the excellent Junto Nakatani, a fighter I've been watching for years. Fantastic fighter. He is 3-weight world champion, going through a 4th title weight division at super bantamweight now. I've never been a big fan of fighters jumping too quickly. I think the way Inouye's done it is best. He goes to a division, he's won what he's done at Super Bantam and Bantam, not at Light Fly, Superfly, but Bantam and Super Bantam, he's gone there, he's cleaned up the belts, and then he's defending. He's having a number of title fights. What you get with a lot of other fighters is they go up to a weight, grab a belt, sometimes leave and go to next weight, or make 1 or 2 defences, then jump to next weight. I've never been a big fan of that. But Junto Nakatani is in 15th place, of course. They're hopeful to see an Inoue Nakatani matchup. That will be fantastic. In 14th place is the excellent Jesse Rodriguez, another fighter I'm a big fan of. He goes up to grade 3. Okay, Jesse Rodriguez is a fantastic little fighter. I'm excited to see what he can do going forward. And in 13th place, okay, is light heavyweight Dimitri Bivol, also grade 3. He's captured the titles, beating Artur Beterbiev. Some people thought he won the first fight as well. I'm not a judge, I don't score them, so I'm not getting involved in the furor over who should have won this and that, because I think people debate that and they've never judged a fight in their life. Half at time, who they deem wins fights depends on who their favourites are, which is biased and fraudulent way of looking at it straight away. which is why I never get involved in those discussions. Dimitri Bivol is in 13th, and then in 12th place is Devin Haney, an excellent fighter but with some weaknesses. And then in 11th place, just outside top 10, also grade 3, like Bivol and Haney, is Artur Beterbiev, who, even though he lost the last fight to Bivol, he won the first and basically, blah, blah, blah. So there is 10, okay, 20 down to 11. Okay, so let's go into top 10. In 10th place, we have Donny Nieto. He's a multiweight champion, an excellent Filipino fighter. Obviously, very close to the end now for him. He's still droning on at the moment, but Donny Nieto is grade 3 in 10th place. And the first grade 4, okay, is excellent Japanese fighter Ken Shiro. Light flyweight champion, now flyweight. I actually think Ken Shiro's a fantastic little fighter. In 8th place, grade 4, is actually Anthony Joshua, who, despite critics, has done a lot in his professional career. No, I'm not a big fan of the Ngannou and Paul fights. And in any future videos, I will not be including them when I talk about his career at all. I'm not interested really in professional boxers taking what I term, and rightly call, joke fights, especially after watching Jake Paul fight. At least when Ngannou came, he tried to box with him and fight him. He didn't just run around ring like Usain Bolt. So Joshua's grade 4 in 8th place, and also grade 4 in 7th place is Juan Francisco Estrada. Another of that excellent crop from around that time. You had Cuadras and Estrada and Srisaket Rungvisai and Roman Gonzalez and Donny Nieto going up there. Kazuta Ioka. Now, of course, Jesse Rodriguez. A fantastic time it has been at Superfly in recent years. Juan Francisco Estrada, of course, an outstanding fighter. And the first grade 5 in 6th place is the excellent Japanese fighter Kazuta Ioka. Another multi-weight champion, like Kosai Tanaka and Ken Shiro, Nakatani, Inoue. Kazuta Ioka, again, probably closer to the end, but still a fantastic fighter. Doesn't have really the greatest resume of all time, but he's a very accomplished fighter at title level. So Kazuta Ioka comes in at grade 5. So when we go into the top 5, okay, we see in 5th place, again, close to the end, but a great fighter, and to me, one of the greatest slow weight fighters of the last 30 years, Roman Gonzalez. He is grade 5. Also grade 5 in 4th place is great Filipino fighter, and I call him great Filipino fighter. Donaire has the multi-weight accomplishments, he's got the title acclaim, he's got a better resume than most active boxers. Even in his later comeback, when he came back, when everyone considered him washed up, he came back at bantamweight. People were saying, he's fought super bantam, etc, he'll never do well, capturing world titles, taking part in big fights. The first fight with Inoue were an outstandingly tough fight for Inoue. Inoue, of course, caught Donaire in the second one early and bombed him out, but still, Nonito Donaire is one of the greatest active fighters, no doubt. Then on to grade 6, and a fighter who's starting to frustrate me, Alexander Usyk. Okay, because despite his skills and his impressive victories, he's now becoming very, very inactive. Okay, and that is helping him, and that is helping Inoue leap ahead of him. Okay, Usyk has gone to being very inactive. Okay, he's turning down chances of fights with Joseph Parker. Parker then goes on to lose to Wardley. He's talking about fighting Deontay Wilder, goodness knows when. He last fought against Dubois months and months and months and months ago. Doesn't even have another fight scheduled. If he announces that fight February, when is that going to be for May, June? Another year out at ring. He's starting to frustrate me, because if he's not going to be active and he's going to be keeping the belts, he needs to fight more regular. At least twice a year, Usyk needs to fight. So that is actually hurting Usyk in the standings, because his score is actually slowing to a crawl, whereas fighters like Inoue and others are much more active. Inoue fights today, and actually he's had multiple fights this year fighting for those unified belts. So, end of the day, Usyk, despite his talent, is stuck in quicksand in case of his score. Which is a shame, because he could be doing a lot more, building a bigger resume, amassing more title defences, etc. So in second place, okay, is Naoya Inoue, okay, bar 7. Okay, so Inoue is in second place. Inoue, to me, and Usyk, People argue which one is the greater fighter. I think Inoue has a great argument. He's been a two-weight undisputed champion like Alexander Usyk. Inoue has had way more title fights. He's way more active, and he's still unbeaten as well. You know, four-weight champion. So Inoue, essentially, you know, to me and Usyk could swap around. But the number one, okay, on bar 9, okay, is still Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is closer to the end, okay, clearly. And when Canelo retires, he will drop out. But at the moment, Canelo Alvarez has captured over a dozen world titles. He's been a multi-weight champion, a multi-weight unified champion, and an undisputed super middleweight champion. And he has clearly, like Donaire, one of the better resumes in boxing at the moment. People always critique him and say this guy and that guy, he should have lost this fight or should have lost that fight. You know, I still find it funny people say Lara beat Canelo Alvarez. If you want to award a guy a fight who did a Jake Paul running round ring for 2.5 minutes, then coming in throwing 3 punches and running out of way trying to win the round like that, if you want to reward a guy like that winning rounds, then you know maybe you need to watch more Misfits boxing. Okay, but proper boxing is about engaging your opponent, okay, and battling your opponent, not necessarily in a blood and gut style, but actually tackling your opponent, fighting and countering and moving, not just running around the ring like Erislandy Lara. Despite that, Canelo still has probably the best resume out of all of these fighters, barring Nonito Donaire, and maybe his resume is even better than Donaire. I don't think he's as talented as Alexander Usyk in many ways. You know, it is what it is, but Usyk hasn't had the number of fights over multi-years, over multi-weights that Canelo has had. And, you know, Canelo, despite him being older, well, he's not older than, you know what I mean, but older in career, okay, in terms of length of activity as a professional fighter, you know, he's more active than Alexander Usyk at the moment now, I think, or they're on a par. But that's my first top 20. Okay, I designed this format so over time we can see the bars moving up as they increase their greatness. As fighters retire, they'll fall out. New fighters will come in, you know, near the bottom end. Like I said, I'm going to add about 3 or 4 fighters a month. Over the next 6 months, I've already got a dearth of fighters in. Like I said, I've added Shaki Foster and Sebastian Fundora. I've got a number of other fighters to add, you know, over the coming 6 months. But I'm not rushing it, 3 or 4 a month. So any changes in that time will be new fighters scored in. But this playlist is now up and running, and there will be an update before the end of every month. Now, there ain't going to be a lot of changes because a lot of these guys like Usyk don't seem to fight for a year at a time, but other fighters do fight over that time, so there will be change here or there. And ultimately, like I always say in all my videos, you know, people can agree or disagree on how great a fighter is, or how good a fighter is, or how great his resume is, but at the end of the day, in my ratings, the fighters themselves will decide that by what they do. Okay, the better fighters they fight, the more accomplishments they gain, the higher they move up my scale. If they don't fight better fighters and they don't gain more accomplishments and they're inactive, they're not going to be moving very quickly up my scale. You know, I've created this scale, the rest is down to them. Okay, we will monitor on a monthly basis, and the update video will come every month, so any changes people can track and see. And also, as the fighters improve bars, they can also monitor that as well. So big shout out to Misty, James810 and Martin in the chat. I can't talk to too long because I've got this like weird infection outside of my tongue. It stings and burns. It's quite nasty, so I'm dealing with that at a minute. So yeah, I'm not going to stay on too long talking. So yeah, I'm going to get off, and I will catch you on my new videos, okay, just after the turn of the new year into 2026. I've got piles of career videos ready, and I am working on my new boxers opposition videos. I've tried a few drafts and they're not quite right. One of them wasn't enough. One of them was, it were going to be like doing an encyclopedia. If I do Greb or Robinson or Langford, it were going to be like creating an entire encyclopedia doing video. One of the videos had over 50 slides I had to fill, so I'm working on a system. I will get there, those will come in time. But yeah, there's my first monthly top 20 greatest active fighters. The next update will come at the end of January 2026 and every month thereafter. I'm the Boxing Librarian. I'm out for now.